Stand. Let's get this show on the road. Oh, we get the road on the show. Show on the road. Now here we are, the class of 1964. We grew up in the 50s. We went to high school in the 60s. World War II, the soldiers came home. They were used to strict discipline. So it was easy for them to obey the power structure of America and follow all of their rules. Largely because of this, there was sameness in America in the 50s. We were a conformist nation. We all grew up watching Howdy Doody, Ted Mack Talent Show, Sky King. The calendar changed January 1, 1960, but America didn't change. It was actually a continuation of the 50s. Think about what we were doing in 58, 59, 61, 62, 63. What were we listening to? Number one song, Dominique. I can't get used to losing you. Andy Williams was number one. That's what we were listening to in 63. The 60s did not start until Dallas, a few hours after our image of Camelot was shattered by gunfire. Weeks later, it was 1964. America was coming apart. Our parents' ideals were dying. We were becoming impatient with the status quo. A mother said to her daughter, "You know, I've done everything that society expects of me as a woman of the 50s, and still something's missing. I'm not completely satisfied. I'm not totally happy. Somehow I'm not complete." And her daughter, who at that time was going to Berkeley, later became one of the leaders in the women's rights, said, "I know what is wrong." And at that time, in our generation, the 60s became what the 50s were not. The Beatles landed in America in 1964, February, and they began to define our lives with tremendous wit and insight. Cassius Clay had a lot of impact on our lives, whether we remember it or realize it or not. He was just 4 years older than us, and in 1964, in February, a couple of weeks after the Beatles came here, Cassius Clay in Miami defeated Sonny Liston, world heavyweight champion. The night before the fight, he slept in the car. Ain't no black man going to be a guest in a hotel, is what he was told. So the very next day, after winning the title, he changed his name. He felt it was a slave name. His ancestors were pre-Civil War slaves. And Cassius Clay said, "I'm not going to be what you want me to be." And that echoed through many segments of our society. Young guys that grew their hair, blacks wanted to vote, women wanted to be equal. America was changing. And then in 1964, it was August, Congress passed the Gulf of Tonkin Resolution, which gave President Johnson the authority to conduct an undeclared war in Vietnam. Then, if guys got out of high school or college, you were drafted to be committed to give your life, to be willing to die for the red, white, and blue. Our first speaker this evening is a 3-year United States Army veteran, serving his tour of duty in Nam, part of 66 and going into 67. Roger was interviewed and published in several newspapers in Williams, Fulton, and Defiance County. And he also participated in organizing his Army buddies, and they also had their first reunion in Washington, D.C., where Roger participated in laying the wreath in front of the Vietnam War and the Tomb of Unknown. So right now I'd like to introduce one of our fellow classmates, Roger Maryland. Maryland, front and center.
Good evening, fellow classmates. Tonight I have the honor and the privilege to recognize the members of our class that have served their country in the military. From the 152 who graduated in 1964, I have found 36 that have served. And what I'm going to do, if you'd like to see this, you can open your book. It's on page 4 on the left side if you want to follow along. Okay, better. Thank you. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to read the names, just remain seated, and when I'm done, I'm going to ask you all to just stand up, we'll have a round of applause, and then we'll sit down. So, here's the ones I found, and I will apologize if I have missed anybody, but I've tried very hard to get all of you. Yep. Russ Amater, Navy Corpsman, Marine Corpsman. Mike Bostetter, U.S. Army. Terry Buck, U.S. Army. John Butler, U.S. Navy Corpsman. Jim Card, U.S. Army. John Clark, U.S. Navy. Ray Connon, U.S. Air Force. Jim Davison, U.S. Army. Bob Dawson, Navy Corpsman. Bill DeCroft, U.S. Navy. Mike DeCroft, U.S. Army. Randy Ellinger, U.S. Army. Stan Usler, U.S. Marine Corps. John Fuller, U.S. Air Force. Norman Gilbert, U.S. Army. Larry Grimm, U.S. Army. Denny Harmon, Ohio Army National Guard Reserve. Alan Hughes, U.S. Navy. Tom Johnston, U.S. Army. Stan Kornrup, U.S. Navy. Don Marsh, U.S. Air Force. Roger Maryland, U.S. Army. Steve Machinsky, U.S. Marines, retired. Mike Phillips, U.S. Marine Corps. Doug Powell, U.S. Army. Gary Ryder, U.S. Navy. Frank Rosebrock, U.S. Marine Corps. Steve Shook, U.S. Navy. Ron Seidel, U.S. Air Force. Monty Scanlon, U.S. Air Force. Dave Smith, U.S. Army. Mike Stroop, U.S. Navy and U.S. Army Reserve. Dick Tawney, U.S. Air Force. Don Bierhoff, U.S. Air Force. Jim Wallace, U.S. Army. And Denny Weaver, U.S. Army. Would you please stand at this point and join me in giving them a round of applause? anybody from our class that did serve, if you will please let myself know or Lyle know, and so that we can get our records correct. Thank you again. Have a good evening.
I heard on Fox News just last month, and I thought, I'll mention this. You know, I heard that, well, not that it's a rumor that I heard, it's a fact. It's got to be true. 71% of guys eligible for the military, or of military age, are ineligible in America nowadays. 71%. Top 4 reasons. Let me know what you think they are. Weight, obesity is one.
Tattoos.
Tattoos, yes, especially above the neck. Drugs is another one. Illiterate? No, I guess you can be illiterate. It's okay. Good. Tattoo, drugs, obesity, and felonies. Now, this is kind of exciting, who I'm going to introduce next. You know, when you think about all we've gone through, like some of you just came tonight, others, you know, some of us were here Thursday night at Thursday night's event. And we would get talking to someone for several minutes and then go on to someone. And then Friday, we talked to the same person about something else and then go on to somebody. And Friday, there was somebody else joining. It was really neat and a wonderful experience that those who were able to attend all of them, we really enjoyed. It was really neat. Made me happy. One of my happiest high school moments. And thinking, I mentioned before how many people came from all over the United States. I think I counted up just looking at the roster, there are 19 states. There were at least, unless I missed some, but at least 19 states covered. Many of us are living nowadays, after this many years, in pain and without energy. And several of us came home not to be greeted by any living family member, but we came home because of the people in this room tonight. It took an entire committee to bring us home. Right now I'd like to introduce the chairman of the Bryan High School class of 1964 reunion committee who brought us home. Would you please stand with a nice thank you, Lyle? Thank you, Lyle.
I've never gotten to use one of these things. Now, before I begin, a few years ago in a presidential election, one of the vice presidents said, I knew John F. Kennedy, and you're no John F. Kennedy. Well, I know Stan Usler, and I'm no Stan Usler. So you're going to have to bear with me here. I only have a few things to say. What? What?
You're not covering that book.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, it's your show, but
Yeah.
you told me to make up the program.
Yeah. Did you give me 50 minutes?
You get the 5 right.
5 what?
5 minutes.
No way.
4 now.
Come on, give me a break. 45 minutes. That's another 5.
We won't be able to hear Mr. Stockman.
All right. Well, I wouldn't want to be quiet either. There you go. Is there anything in there I can use?
Let me see. Really? You wanted to say all of this?
Yeah.
How about this?
That's it?
That's it.
All right, thanks. That's our shtick. Everybody enjoying your meals? I would like to thank Lori Lucas from Kim's Catering, along with her very able staff. Lori, can you get them out of here for a minute? We have Paige, Melanie, and Ethan. Thank you very much. Great job, guys. Now, we have 4 teachers here tonight, and we had invited a few other ones that are still with us. A couple of months ago, I got a phone call from Coach Strom stating that he wasn't going to be able to make it here because of family commitment. He's on vacation in northern Michigan. Then a couple of weeks later, Helene and I got a phone call from Sherry Short, and she's also committed to a family vacation somewhere. And then we received a nice card from Miss Max. How old is she?
96.
92?
6.
96?
Was it?
She graduated with Mom.
Oh my gosh. 96 years old.
They just had their 75th reunion.
2 more years, Lou. 2 more
4
years.
years ago they had their 75th reunion.
4.
2 more years, you'll be 96, right? Okay. We expect you to be here for our next reunion too, by the way. Okay. I typed this up in big font, but I still got to use these cheaters. Well, I know Stan welcomed everybody early, but I want to make a special thank you for everyone who showed up tonight. This is by far the best turnout we've ever had for a class reunion. So I think you should all give yourselves a nice round of applause. Follow me, Red. I'd like to introduce my very able committee. These people worked long and hard, gave lots of time to make this possible. The first one is Hyla Ames Sherrock. Jamie Ames Straziuso. Nancy Chasey Henry. Video technician Ray Connon. Miss Decorations Bobby Gall Schlosser. My gopher for today, Denny Harmon. Barb Harrington Hancock, who couldn't be here tonight, her daughter has cancer, and she found out the other day that her blood levels had elevated, so she had to go 5 hours in Illinois to be with her daughter. So keep Barb in your thoughts and prayers. Mary Jo Lamandia. Roger Maryland. For how many years, Raj? How have we been doing this? 15, 20 years? Roger is my Tonto, and I'm his Kimosabe. I'll take all the blame. One special woman. Stockman Nowak. Oh, yeah. Georgetta Hartman Koopman. These 12 people have worked really, really hard, and without all their skills and talents, we wouldn't be here tonight. But no matter how hard they worked, it wouldn't mean anything if everybody else would have shown up. And for that, I say thank you, thank you, thank you. Since we graduated 50 years ago, we have lost 26 classmates. There's a special page in the booklet that's towards the front. And as you look at their pictures, just kind of remember, if you can, some of the times you might have spent with them, and just think about them as they're not able to be with us tonight. A couple of months ago, my sister-in-law emailed me something, and it really struck me as to something that I'd like to share with you tonight, if I can. It's called Passengers on My Train. Life is a journey on a train, with its stations, with changes of routes, and with accidents. At birth, we boarded the train and met our parents. We believed they would always travel on our side. However, at some station, our parents have or will step down from the train, leaving us on this journey alone. As time has gone by, other people boarded the train, and they were significant, such as our siblings, friends, children, and even the love of our life. Many will step down from the train and leave a permanent vacuum. Others will go so unnoticed that we don't recognize that they vacated their seats. This train ride will be full of joy, sorrow, fantasy, expectations, hellos, goodbyes, farewells. Success consists of having a good relationship with all passengers, requiring that we give the best of ourselves. The mystery to everyone is, we don't know at which station we ourselves will step down. So we must live in the best way we can, love, forgive, and offer the best of who we are. It is important to do this because when the time comes for us to step down and leave our seat empty, we should leave behind beautiful memories for those who will continue to travel on the train of life. I wish a joyful journey for the coming years on the train of life. Reap success and give lots of love. More importantly, thank God for the journey. The most wonderful places to be in the world are in someone's thoughts, someone's prayers, and someone's hearts. Lastly, I thank all of you for being passengers on my train. Thank you.
This is Lyle's show, and he doesn't know that I'm going to say, and now, Dave Ginther and Shelley Gorney.
Okay. Where's Shelley? Here she is. So I think the committee just got thanked, but we really wanted to do something more. I mean, these people have had phone calls, emails, discussions, time spent, and as a result of that, we had this awesome, special, and memorable time. And we just wanted to kind of go the next step. The committee has made a lot of decisions over the last year. We only had 2 decisions to make. Where to get the card to thank them, and what to put in the card. So getting the cards was the simplest of decisions. We could go to Gorney Winsler, or we could go to Shelley Gorney Art Incorporated and have a custom card made. So off-the-shelf custom card, no-brainer. In a minute, some of these nice folks will see the cool card that Shelley made. Now, it was more difficult to find out what's in the card. And there were a lot of things that came to our mind. What we actually settled on was a special reception dinner for the committee only at Father John's. Got it all set up. Unfortunately, on August 29th, which is the first football game of the season, the only seating was at 7 o'clock. And we knew that wouldn't fly because they had to be in Van Wert that night. So we kind of ruled that one out. The next option was a nice private get-together in Imagination Park. And that was like going to be really great, wives, families. And then we thought, probably the last thing this committee wants to do is spend more time together. So that one right out the door. So what we settled on was a gift card that could be spent anywhere in Bryan, Ohio, as long as the product was sold by Seasons Restaurant. So that's what we ended up. And you know, we can laugh and joke, and I'm glad that we're having fun tonight. But just on a personal note, I mean, there have been a lot of discussions going on about the plans and the events, and a lot of feedback. And just, I mean, what we've gone through is like all these special times, all these days, Thursday and Friday and Friday and Friday and Saturday and tomorrow. And many people have said they would not have come to the reunion, but they came to the memory generation machine that the committee put together. So we just can't say enough about this committee because it was not easy. So that's it. That's my story. I'm sticking to it. What I would like to do, oh, just a minute. Oh, thundering applause, whistles, horns, and confetti from the ceiling. Say again? I didn't hear what you said. So just to keep us on schedule, we're going to have the committee stand up one more time. We're going to split this in packages of 6, I hope. And in no particular order, we're going to deliver the goods and let Stan get on the program that he and Lyle so carefully crafted. So, if the committee would just stand up one more time, because you're awesome, and that way we can find them. There you go. Hi, Ray.
Hey,
how you
David.
doing, Ray?
How you doing, buddy?
I'll put this on the table so it's not
Thank you,
getting in your
sir.
way. Okay.
Cool deal.
Thank you very much.
Stand behind.
Okay, and okay.
I got mine. Thank you.
Here's the deal.
Want to join us at
Barbie's missing, and Connie Cotter wasn't officially on the committee, but she was involved with gift night. And she's sitting right there. And the reason this is special is because I hope that Connie remembers my name now. Because we had some stories going on earlier, and she didn't remember anything about me. I hope that she remembers my name.
Did you get everyone, Dave?
I hope so. All right.
I wanted to ask Randy, I feel bad I forgot Randy Elliger. Where's Randy? Where? Way back there. What's your wife's first name?
Connie.
Connie? We should thank Connie and Randy Elliger for tonight's desserts. Cookies? And the cookies? Oh, and the cookies on the table? And the cookies on the table. Thank you very much. I didn't get a cookie. I didn't get a table. I was sitting in the corner, and when Lyle mentioned and that special someone that needs to be recognized, who stood up? Oh, Helene, all right. 5 decades, our 50th high school reunion, every 5 years, just before coming here, I always think of November 22, 1963, and where I was. I was in study hall. Mike Stroop was on my left. Beer hall. Don, where were you?
I was in Georgia's civics class.
Mr. Stockman's civics class? Mike DeGraw. You have any memories of our next speaker? Mr. Stockman?
When I came back from the service in 1970, I went in the insurance business, and George was in the insurance business. And I really liked to play golf. Played a lot of golf in those days, and George is an avid golfer, still is an avid golfer, correct? Yeah, I think you are. We teamed up. We teamed up one time or 2 times to do an Oldsmobile Scrambles, right? To do Oldsmobile Scrambles. Right. And we even won one. Got to go to a regional qualifier. Fantastic putter on the team. But my most vivid memory of George goes back to probably the 7th grade. I'm not sure if it was the 7th or 8th grade. But I was running in the halls of the old junior high building. And this arm comes out right in the back of the neck, grabs me by the shirt, and yanks me into a classroom. It may have been down by the locker rooms, I'm not sure. And I proceeded to get a very stern lecture on running in the halls. And when he was done, he said, in addition to having to listen to me, you will have a 500-word essay to me tomorrow afternoon at 4 o'clock on why you shouldn't run in the halls. And he had it at 4 o'clock, thanks to my mother. I'm pretty sure he still has it. He probably has it in a frame somewhere.
Mike, that was wonderful.
That's discipline.
Sue Oberlin, Chris McCarnes. Do you remember Mr. Stockman?
Well, we didn't have to write any essays, but when we were in 7th grade, Coach Stockman was the coach of most of the boys' sports in our class. And, you know, some of us girls had kind of a little preteen crush on him. And I was talking to Chris the other day, and I told her that you had asked me, do you have any memories of Coach Stockman? And she, like, reminded me of something that happened back then that I'm too embarrassed to tell you about.
young wife and his little boys, and we just, oh, I got a microphone. We just thought so much of him, and we thought, somehow we knew when his birthday was, and so we all went shopping together, and we found this card that we just thought was just terrific, and it said on the front, "We like you better than chocolate-covered graham crackers." And on the inside it says, "And we really like chocolate-covered graham crackers." So I think he's just as cute today as he was then. So Susie has a special gift for you today.
Fabulous.
Let's bring him on up, Mr. Stockman. Ladies and gentlemen.
Well, Nancy's,
Speak into the microphone, please.
Nancy Chasey back there said, "We chose you because we only wanted 2 minutes worth." That's what she said. This is really, always was a neat class. We had a lot of fun together and had a lot of work done. Had a good time with about all of you were involved in some way in my classes or coaching. But you know, Lyle and I were talking about you one time here, and he said, "Well, I know the boys are a lot better than the girls in this class." That's what Lyle said. In fact, he said, when we were standing back there by the door tonight, he said, "Just listen to this." I won't name the two girls that were talking, but they said, "You know, we wouldn't have known so-and-so, but she's got on the same dress she wore 25 years ago." You know who that was.
Don't be ad-libbing here.
Okay. It seems that Helene had a birthday several years ago. Anyway, Helene, it was in her class, and all of the kids were bringing presents. And the first little girl brought this candy up, and she said, or brought this box up, and of course, Dad worked at Spangler Candy Company, so right away she said, "I'll bet that's candy." And the little girl said, "That's right, Mrs. Updike, that's candy." And the next one brought up this flowers, and of course, it was somebody that worked at Monstler, so she said, "I'll bet there's flowers in this box," and of course, it was roses from Monstler Flowers. Pretty soon, Johnny brings up this box and lays it down, and it was leaking. And she thought, well, his dad works at the liquor store. So Helene took her finger and she said, "I'll bet that's vodka." "No," little boy said, "not vodka." So she licked again and said, "Well, that might be Seagram 7, the way that tasted." He said, "No." She said, "Well, what is it?" "It's a puppy." Can't read the notes here. But anyway, this class is, like I said, has meant a lot to me. Through sports, I knew a lot of you. I knew a lot of you through scholarship. In fact, one time you were taking the ACT test, and most of you were in the study hall, but remember around the room on the left there, they put me in charge of, must have been 30 students in there. Anyway, I was watching them and then looking over, and there was Strom in the study hall waving at me all the time and trying to make me laugh. And several of the other teachers, Sam Wagner, wanted to know what was going on because he was ahead of it. But then Dave Lance, you remember Dave Lance? Dave Lance came to the door, and of course the students didn't see him, but he passed gas. And Dave Lance did that right in front of the door, and of course I could hardly hold it myself, so I walked around, and I remember, I think it was Denny Glick said, "Coach, I hope you feel better." So again, a lot of things that took place. I look back through the years, and most of you crossed my path in some way. Many of them, it was football with Mike Phillips there, Lyle Move, Denny, John Stockwell, Don Verhoff, Bill Young, John Clark, who's no longer with us, Ronnie Ebal, Randy Elliger was our manager, and Dick Tony was our manager back then also. So, again, a lot of people that I was involved with. And I can remember also that before ball games, usually it was Chris McCarnes and Susie Jackson and and Georgetta Hartman would always bring cookies to our place. And then we had different things like that always happening. I can remember Carol Stockman here and Carol Stockman over there. She used to live on our route, and we'd get her letters, and I would have to deliver them over to Carol. But, things like that happened. Jeff DeGroff back there was our paper boy. Yeah, and Susie Harris, she babysat for us with the 5 little Stockmans, which kept me pretty busy at times. And then, of course, many of you in football remember those kids, Tim and Tom, coming to football practice and even holding dummies once in a while for you at the practice. So, like I say, I'm not going to stand up here all night. John Stockwell, we got him out for football, and probably the best thing ever happened to John.
Next to Mary and Chris.
Next to Mary and Chris. But it did. He did a good job for us, like many of you did. So anyway, that's, I could go on and ramble, but I won't anymore. Denny Harmon was close to me in golf here, and Mike DeGroff, we went to several different tournaments together, and had a lot of fun over the years with the golf. So with that, I thank you, and thanks, Lyle.
Thank you, Coach.
Coach, thank you very much. Great to see you. You look like one of us, you know, one of the class of '64. How old are you?
I'm 82. No. It's just you aged me that much, but 80.
80?
Yep.
Wow. All good things come to a close, and our last 20 minutes is a video that'll take you down memory lane. So for you on our golden anniversary reunion, we hope you'll enjoy the ride.